there in the stillness, as he lay waiting the first sunburst of his God presence descending to restore him once again to life in the form, the mighty power of God preparing to release itself through him, was also evident in the rising sun and the hushed air of expectancy as the angels of the resurrection prepared to form the great cosmic chain of love emanating from the heart of immortal life and connecting with his reposing form. Then, as the first point of that mighty orb touched the horizon in the east, there was a flash of flickering purple flame, brilliant, wondrous, dominant, pulsating, that leaped in the very heart of the sun itself and could be felt as an intense glow of both purple and violet fire, saturating the golden dawn with the penetration of the power of these two rays. Light blazing forth and taking its domination, exercising its control over shadowed substance. Light pouring forth to the earth, the breaking of the dawn, called today Easter, the surging of the great tides of life in the heart of Christ, quiescent and still was the beating of his heart within the form, and then came the first quiver of life, and he again breathed the sweetness of the air, for the stone splendidly rolled away from before the tomb where he lay, obeying the great command of the angelic being sent forth to move it. And he came forth from the tomb, shining in all his glory, as the mighty breath of spring rushed in. The stimulation of light in the planetary body was quickened, and the pulsations of quivering joy permeated the planetary atmosphere and raced mightily across the hills as though a flood of light were released over all. And so it was. But it resembled a flood, a real flood as of water, for the mountain of light was above Ararat, and it covered all of the landed areas of the world with a giant stimulation of the hand of God. All life felt the pulsation, even as on Good Friday, so-called now, the great thick darkness could be felt as a pall of doom extending itself not only over Palestine, but over all of the entire hemisphere. Blessed one, realize then that with the raising of the light on that splendid Easter day, it came to pass that the Christ arose, and with his resurrection many others were brought into consciousness and restored unto life. This is recorded in your scriptures as follows: that many of the bodies of the saints which slept arose and went and appeared in the holy city unto many. For the veil in the temple was rent in twain, and the light of the holy holies, blessed one, streamed forth in full magnificence. The glory known as the Shekinah, between the two covering cherubims upon the altar of God, streamed forth from the ark, and the great cosmic ark of the covenant in the heavens appeared, the rainbow of promise signifying that it was the divine intent to release in the pure light substance of eternity all of the wondrous manifestations comprising the seven-ray aspects of life upon terra. O blessed ones, light is wondrous to behold for those who have been afflicted with blinded eyes, and who through the miracles of surgery or through the blessings of the healing hand are restored to either partial or full sight. Light itself in all of its wonder is recognized for its blessing and all that it conveys. The power to reach out and to cognize form from without and images. The power to contact substance, and in all of the subtle weavings of the expressions of mankind, to be able to discern the flickering emotions passing across the human countenance, and then to transform by the inner radiance that outer expression into the Christ image. The words, "Go and sin no more," ought to be recognized for their full Christ significance. Blessed ones, mankind so frequently in their outer seeking for God are not aware of their own power over those they contact. Precious ones, when men see you, each one of you, they ought to see God, and the revelation of His presence should descend over your countenance. When you behold man, and behold in man the negative play of emotions flickering across their countenance, you invoke in them all of their own momentum of discord which was accumulated over the centuries. When you transform the one upon whom you gaze by the power of the Christ mind into the Christ image, you do heaven a service, for you are then utilizing the mind of God, the greatest outpouring of cosmic radiance that has ever gone forth in all creation, the power that as the first photon of light blazed forth a cosmic trail as the forerunner of all that was yet to be. This is a cosmic action, but it expresses in the little momentary plays of emotion which manifest and express themselves to you from day to day. A saint, a cosmic being, a Christ is not the product of one moment's meditation, nor is it the product of a simple touch whereby there is conveyed to that one all of the perfection of life, but it is the ray of light from the heart of God, which, though it be as tiny as a slim little thread flickering in the darkness of being transitory, is the full perfection woven from the mighty God flame upon the altars of heaven and loomed into priceless magnificence upon the loom of creation, suspended here in form and substance. You are the weavers, precious ones, of your own energies, and it is as you take those holy energies and direct them by the power of the God-mind into the Christ image overlaid upon the face of the human image, that you are creating the very matrix which will resurrect the soul of those you look upon. Remember, precious ones, these words, that beauty is in the eyes of the beholder, and know that as you endow your fellow men with the divine concept, you cannot help but be the cosmic expression of that magnificence and that power. Know ye then that all of the floral magnificence is held in the consciousness of the devas of the floral kingdom, who offer their own priceless energies that they may be woven into garlands of holy beauty, immortally designed and conceived, but conveyed as is the accord of mankind, to perish because of the short tenure of mankind's present memory of things eternal. When mankind themselves will have externalized the power of superior vision, the nature kingdom will be thus enabled to outpicture those floral arrangements known as an immortal. These precious flowers, composed of living flame substance bearing a remote resemblance to that which is before you, will manifest upon the planetary body and will manifest according to your spoken word, so that if you speak to substance and command it to take a floral form, it will bring about before you a pathway that is literally strewn with the flowers of heaven. You will walk then upon rose petals, and your own feet, bared before the holy presence of life, will be crushing gently the fire flower petals of living flame, which will pour forth the perfumed radiance of God Himself. This then will be no desecration, for your feet will be pilgrim feet returning to your own cosmic home to honor the Father presence of all life, who created you in all of His wonder and magnificence. O precious ones, I shall not today stoop to the human level to refute the denials that the carnal mind may make of heaven's powers. I shall simply ignore them and will assert the wondrous transcendence of God in all of its supreme radiance into your midst, compelling then a manifestation here of great light, a ray of light passing through your heart, a ray of light passing through the heart of God simultaneously, a cosmic burst of sun splendor whose radiance shall captivate your imagination with the perfection of the eternal presence, knowing full well within the great temple of your being that with the tolling of the cosmic bell of your own freedom, you shall recognize in that toll a release from all the distress that has ever plagued you, and you shall find the limitless radiance of your perfection adorning not only your mortal form, but all of those wondrous finer bodies of yours which have felt the pressure of human discord for so long. They shall slough this off, and they shall be saturated with the effulgent radiance of God. The mighty light, the ray of light that has itself manifested in you, shall become a mighty flame of fire, leaping from tree to tree, as through the forest of human creation it shall denude and strip the foliage of the trees of human creation of all of their false patterns outpictured, and God shall instantaneously array these remaining stumps with the power of transmutation, so much so that an entirely new forest shall be raised on the instant, raising leafy palms, as it were, to heaven in adoration of the unfailing light of God, and the new state of transmutation which has occurred, whereby there is erected on the temple of that which is ephemeral the temple of that which is eternal. And you, precious one, shall find the dominant power of light asserting its God control in your physical forms, so that your blessed beating heart will no longer submit to the pressures of mass hysteria and the idea that you will suffer with heart failure. Beloved ones, how can the heart of God ever fail? I ask you this. Individuals in this room know of that which I speak. They know that their heart has occasionally fluttered for a moment, and they have made a call to God, and the sustaining radiance has gone down into their heart and actually massaged their hearts with fingers of light, restoring them to a wonderful power of light's radiance, whereby they are able to have many more years of useful service permitted unto them because of the power of light, which has performed a cosmic action according to the mercy and power and radiance of God. But let not this tremendous blessing prove to you to be a bane. Let this extension of your life that has been given you by God not become a period whereby you shall return to the old human habits of criticism, condemnation, and judgment, but let it be a time when you shall sustain the holy radiance of heaven in preparation for the vestment garments of the ascension, which shall be given to you in accordance with your own request. Precious ones, stop for a moment and consider. Unless you shall ask for the ascension, do you think that you shall receive it? Precious ones, it is not the plan of God to interfere with the free will of man. If individuals are satisfied to live life in the manner as is the custom of men, then they continue, and the powers of human viciousness continue to take their domain in their world. But because all of the elemental life and all life upon earth has for so long suffered the depredations as a result of human misery, it is the divine intent to spell an end to that type of action as quickly as possible. And therefore the students of light are admonished to remember that spiritual warfare is permissible. I do not say that this includes the striving and the action of the human, whereby mankind shall vilify one another or bring about a spirit of discord. But I do say that to make a call to God for the manifestation of perfection upon the planetary body, to make a militant call, a determined call, that the great light descend and take possession of the earth and all of its inhabitants, is wholly permissible, although it may be a form of cosmic warfare against the discordant elements of life and those who desire to keep the world in slavery and the manifestation of imperfection for their own purposes, which are in themselves dense and dark substance, and in no way resemble the splendid ideas of God control which raised the Christ consciousness in beloved Jesus into full preeminence and raised his physical form from the tomb of matter and materiality to the point where he said unto them, "Touch me not, for I am not yet ascended unto our Father, but I ascend unto your God and unto my God." Therefore, precious ones of the light, recognize that to you this day is given a rare privilege whereby there is poured forth into the chalice of your blessed attention the power of rheolite in consecrated concentration, in order to remove a blot upon human consciousness which has for long troubled the people of Christendom. I refer here to the idea that the hours between 12 o'clock and 3 o'clock on Good Friday are intended to be a period of mourning, whereby individuals, as it were, precious ones, hang their consciousness with the somber blackness of crape and are picturing in their consciousness the form of the ascended Master Jesus as ripped with jagged nails and hanging incarcerated upon an instrument of physical torture. Precious ones, it is the intent of God to remind mankind that the way of the cross is not intended to be an instrument of torture and destruction. The cross itself is a cross of light and not a cross of shadow. The cross is, precious ones, the descending radiance of God depicted by the long arm thereof, and the shorter arm across, blessed ones, recognizes the plane of human consciousness. The point where these two lines meet is the very center thereof, and is the point directly in the heart of man, where is anchored the mighty threefold flame of life. Therefore let all men understand that their concentration ought not to be upon the aspects of sorrow and destruction and the sufferings of any one, but ought to be upon the wondrous power of light itself to gain dominion over all human suffering and discord and misery, and bring all civilization and the entire planetary body into a new dimension of cosmic understanding concerning the so-called death and so-called burial and resurrection of the Christ. Let me herein then bring light to all. The crucifixion itself did not refer to that act which occurred upon Golgotha's hill. For did not he speak unto them and say, "Take up thy cross and follow me"? Precious ones, this then did not refer to the fact that it was the will of God that all men should be crucified or put to death or be martyrs in the sacred cause. It referred, blessed ones, to the daily outpicturing of the radiance of Christ. It referred, precious ones, to the fact that although bodily discomfort must at times be endured until it is cured, that although there may be some struggle until the sense of struggle is ended, mankind must utilize their body in the service of the great light until that light can surge through that form in such dominion that it has obtained its victory over that form. And therefore the Christ image actually is resurrected from within the beating heart of each form, and man becomes a Christed, anointed being, a Son of God, in the living resurrection consciousness, rising out of the tomb of matter and materiality, and finding here upon earth the power to render service unto man and unto God in his holy name, until the wondrous ritual of the ascension is conferred upon that one, the 40 days of waiting, signifying in this case that there will be an initiatory period. This conforms somewhat to the 40 days in the wilderness, wherein the Christ was tempted and tried, being lifted up upon the mountaintop and shown all the kingdoms of this world, which he denied, and obtained power and victory over all of the human elements of his own being. Then there is commingling there with the substance of the earth, earthy, the immortal substance. Then the garlands of heavenly flowers are strewn in the dust of the earth, and the dust of the earth is absorbed into the flower substance. Then it is no more, and there remains no stain, but only the purity of the divine manifestation, the perfection of God, the eternal fragrance, the outpouring of light in shadow, and the wondrous purity that is the full manifestation of the divine intent. When all of this divine intent is cognized by man, he is raised out of his imperfection into the fullness of God's wondrous power. And then there is conferred upon him the crown of the Elohim, and power and dominion. Thou hast been faithful over a few things, now I shall make thee ruler over many things. Enter thou into the joy of thy Lord. Beloved ones, Concentrate now upon the light. Behold the light that is within thee. Feel the pulsation of the resurrection flame. Feel the quiver of that light. Recognize its significance. The increasing brilliance. Of the sacred fire. The ceaseless, never-ending descent of the Holy Spirit. Power of transmutation over densified substance. You, as the master of the work, proceed in the direction of your life in accordance to the holy precepts. The divine qualities surround you, and the past densities are transmuted by light. You become, in the fullness of time, the perfect image of God, held in the mind of the divine Mother of the world, whose appearing is now and yet ever shall be, is the perfect, immaculate concept of God raised in the divine man-child into the ascended consciousness and in the service of the great light. Precious one, while I am speaking to you, there is a wondrous meeting occurring in Darjeeling. Your beloved Saint Germain, together with Mother Mary and El Morya, are gathered around the council table, holding a wonderful spiritual feast in celebration of the wondrous blessings that will be conferred upon the earth very shortly, as the earth experiences a great leaping of the resurrection flame from the center to the periphery thereof, and an intense action is conferred in accordance with the edict of the Karmic Board. The smile upon the face of El Morya would warm your heart. The tenderness with which he regards Mother Mary, the love that he expresses as he holds in his hand a document that he has been writing in connection with Chananda's work for the children of the world, the great yearnings of his heart as he pours out his thought connected with the will of God as to just how that will can be better implemented, is wondrous to behold. Oh, how I wish you could all be guests just for 1 hour in his retreat at Darjeeling. How I wish that you could see the twinkle in his eye and regard the feeling in his heart as he contemplates the hour and the day when all discord on earth ceases and the planet emits the fullness of light's radiance. You know, precious ones, they have waited longer than you have, for since their ascension they have without ceasing served the holy cause, and long before they were raised in the ascension, they, like yourselves, served the greater light. Their yearning is more intense than your own, and yet they need hands and feet and energy offered to them on behalf of the holy cause. I do not beg, I do not plead. I invoke. I do not struggle with human consciousness. I do not show despite to any. I praise the light that is within you. I say, O immortal light, within the hearts of these thy holy children, spring forth in the fullness of God's radiance, and circle round about them until by thy power and domination there is established a great cup of living flame before them, the offering of their divine self unto that self in the becoming, which initiating that self in the becoming raises it into a more full-orbed view, not a mere expression of linear devotion, whereby the consciousness of man reaches as from the heart by way of a straight line to some far-off distant place, but a spherical devotion, whereby the radiance of God perceived within the sphere of consciousness recognizes that it is indeed the reality of all spheres of consciousness everywhere, and is identified not with the mere center of self, but with the center of the universe. The oneness of God that makes of all I am presences one, and thus creates a mighty surge of light that is more light and more light and more light, until there is no room for shadow or darkness, only the necessary diminishing of the light in order to form the patterns and weavings that make for variety and manifestation. These are necessary, but these are but the diminishing of the great light within the substance. Do you see, precious ones, it is a change of the vibratory rate, but the white fire core remains fixed in accordance with the redemptive power of the God flame that spake unto Moses and said, Put off thy shoes from thy feet, for the ground whereupon thou standest is holy ground. Know ye then that the ground whereupon ye stand this day is holy ground, if ye will cognize it and know that the Lord thy God that is within thee has destined for thee who will accept it the fullness of himself, the victory over the outer self, the attainment of his perfection, the co-union with the Christ. Out of the ages have I called unto thee, and thou hast heard my voice. Down through the ages have I called unto thee, and my word has gone forth. I am he who was, and who is to come, that being of beings, who was in the beginning, who now is in manifestation as myriad forms, and remaineth yet, the God of very God, and he who also is yet to come, the full perfection of life in all that is becoming, having attained, and then in accordance with the divine will, manifesting still yet new epochs throughout the ageless, unlimited reaches of the eternal progression of the immortal consciousness, ever living and sustaining the brightness of his appearing everywhere, everywhere, everywhere. Let all of the angelic hosts assigned to this planetary body now utter one paean of praise to his radiance. O light be praised, O light, be praised. O light, be praised. Sustain forever. Sustineo olas. Sustain the wings of the cosmic radiance over all, until borne aloft by the Spirit that is within, the earth shall fade and recede from consciousness, and the mighty radiance of heaven shall be the forte of all. Overcoming death, O death, where is thy sting? Overcoming the shallowness of the grave, O grave, where is thy victory? O human vestments, thou hast no power to deter me from entering into the great divine radiance which I am. I am the victor. I am the victor. I am the victor. And that which is vanquished will also relinquish its substance, emptying its content as the 7 vials of wrath upon the earth. And it shall come to pass, the transmutation shall occur, and the Lord shall give to all substance the purity of his own presence, in accordance with the great eternal law of the cycles. When the fullness of the time was come, God sent forth his own light. O light, return unto me, bearing the laurel wreath of thy victory. O light, return in freedom's course, to flood the world with all that is, and all that was, and all that shall be, sustained in one envelope of light. The chalice that is I, the chalice that saith to all, be of good cheer, be not afraid, fear not, it is my pleasure to give you the kingdom, when it is your pleasure to receive it. I thank you, but remind you in closing that the flesh is as grass, that it withereth away, and all of the glory of man passeth as the grass, and the Spirit of God shall not always strive with flesh. Therefore let those who will tarry, tarry, but let those who will hear the voice of the Son of God, saying, Lo, I come to do God's will, hear what the Spirit saith unto the tabernacles that are with men. In the name of God's mighty ray, O light, which I bear in his honor, I thank you and bid you good afternoon.
Onward your victory claim, and let freedom's might o'er the earth now reign.
Gracious ones, with the stillness of the immortal flame I am come, the great flame of cosmic harmony, enfolding all hearts in universal consciousness, draweth very close to this gathering, in order to draw into your awareness the fullness of his peace and bring about the end of all turmoil and despair. Precious ones, have you thought of the meaning of God's own heartbeat in its relation to your own? Have you pondered upon the meaning of the continual outflow of his life? Mankind today, in all of their ponderings, frequently fail to apprehend the basic simplicity of the great universal law of harmony as it flows out to encompass all things, and in the spirit of human dust, not destiny, are absorbed into a form of restlessness which does not satisfy the soul. From afar, and yet so very near, the infinite harmony of God is born. There is a moment, a celestial moment, when the soul seems empty and bereft of comfort and harmony, and then with a great sweep there is a surge of cosmic light, and all that which is human consciousness and human nonsense is swept away as a log jam upon a river, and the clear stream rushes forth joyously, bringing to all awareness of the mighty tide of cosmic harmony, which cannot be stayed or stopped, but must ultimately bring to all the peace which God intends. Precious ones, with the coming into manifestation of a life, there is brought a living soul to the planetary body to mingle among you who are already here. You are examples then, or intended to be, of God's mighty life, of God's mighty harmony. Have you thought, blessed ones, frequently concerning the fact that since ye first drew breath, countless souls have come into manifestation as tiny babes, and then expanded their consciousness and being to dwell among you and to take example from the manifestation of that which you are? Blessed ones, might it not then be a magnificent idea a grand God design if all spiritual people would recognize in the fatherhood of God the onus of responsibility, not as a burden or weight of oppression, but as a mighty stroke of cosmic genius, a stroke in the name of harmony. You, blessed ones, are perhaps aware of the fact that I was referred to as the great tenor. Well, blessed ones, in one sense of the word, I could almost make a pun upon this, for you have been given a great tenure, and that is a great opportunity since the first going forth of your being to find in life the unfolding wonders of divinity. Now, at first, this seems to be a most simple statement until you bear well in mind that mortal manifestation of consciousness which you are so familiar with is not the great outpicturing of your divinity, but is something else entirely different than was intended by God in the original going forth of thy being into form. Now then, bearing in mind that God's heart beat can be realized by you now as the mighty surge of life, contemplate in gentle simplicity the fact that his heart is now beating and surging forth energy throughout all systems of worlds. Can you hear the heartbeat of God? Is it not like a great anvil, a mighty golden anvil, a precious altar, where the hammers of the universe are raised in cosmic effort? Do the great sparks, the electric sparks of the Holy Spirit, not bear witness to your consciousness of the mighty tide of life and of God's energy flowing forth as suns and systems of worlds into space? Precious ones, mankind have become lost in a morass of consciousness whereby they lose sight of the priceless treasures of the universe. They have drank the poison cup and stand to the present hour as those who are afflicted with inharmonious decisions. Now then, let them put this asunder, and let them partake of that precious cup and elixir of immortal life. O precious ones, as I am speaking to you concerning the laws of harmony, I desire for a moment to temper my vibrations and bring them down into a compassionate endearment to each one of your hearts, so that you might not feel alone or separated from me and the heavenly hosts in this expression, but might realize that there is flowing forth simultaneously with this release from the heart of God a mighty wave of divine love, which is his love through the entire hierarchy and ascended host, as well as the angelic host, who desire to see a magnificent tone expressed upon the planetary body, a tone that is brought about by the manifestation of the combined ringing of the bells of freedom, the bells of harmony, and the bells of divine love. When these bells peal out their own harmonious tones in expression through the entire social structure of mankind, it shall come to pass that the kingdom of God shall be externalized upon the planet in a manner that cannot be denied by the most blatant individual or those who desire to dictate to mankind in a tyrannical fashion their manner of life. None of them will be able to stand before the face of God as it manifests through the people of the earth, as they invoke by their own mandate the great cosmic harmony of life, which shall express through them individually and then collectively. Precious ones, this is a cosmic moment. Do you realize that as I am speaking to you, wondrous events are transpiring at inner levels? Do you realize that although you may hear a sound which seems to be a human voice, that there is behind these tones the wondrous spiritual power that is invoking a new spirit of harmony for this age? Precious ones, I do not need to tell you, for you are painfully, I could say, and I shall, aware of the fact that upon the planetary body, numerous individuals associated with religious endeavors are themselves frequently abiding in a spirit of great discomfort and disharmony. These individuals, because of the inharmony of their nature, are frequently prone to create a spirit of discord in others with whom they come in contact. These precious individuals have a life flame within them. They belong to the immortal heart of God, but they are in a consciousness and spirit of dissonance. This is typified somewhat by the jazz music of this age, which in its offbeat tendency does not conform to the laws of immortal harmony, and therefore cannot produce the perfection which God intends. The students have long known of the great need to call forth the spiritual music of Saint Germain and others of the ascended host for use upon the planetary body, so that the youth of the world would have the benefit of the ascended master's radiation, that they might no longer gravitate to the lowest sides of their nature, but might aspire to come out of that and understand the meaningful purposes of life as they are dictated by divine decree. Mankind do not realize the depth and the wisdom and the love of God's intent for them. Unfortunately, precious ones, mankind have created actually a God that is made verily in the image of man. And because of this, which they have actually set upon a pedestal as a golden calf, they are not able to clearly see the wondrous face of God, their own divine identity, the only and sole reality of life. When a group of ascended masters, precious ones, come together in a specific place upon the planetary body, what do you think transpires? If Saint Germain comes face to face with beloved Jesus, do you think for a moment that it is to gaze upon him with any feeling of jealousy, or any feeling of dislike, or any feeling of resentment, or any feeling of competition? I think not. For these beloved masters have a cosmic harmony that is identified with their own great pattern of light. Because it is a pattern of light, it does not produce shadow, but produces a wondrous emanation which will change the world and feeling of any individual who comes within the compass of their aura. This, then, should be the desire of every student of this law, to cause all who come within the compass or reach of their aura to have greater reverence for God and the laws of immortal harmony. Unfortunately, students sometimes do not even practice the simple requirements of Christianity in their outpouring of love to one another, but they behave very much in the manner of pagans while professing to be Christians or Buddhists or followers of some other faith recognized and known among mankind. Now all of this must cease, and a spirit of cosmic harmony must pervade the earth. This must begin with those students of the greater light who have been given the instruction of Saint Germain for so long, and all those new students who are coming into this activity and are being given the great command must be made aware of the penetration of the cosmic light as it flows forth into the force field of individual manifestation. Precious ones, you are on exhibit. Do you realize then that you ought to exhibit a spirit of absolute cosmic harmony at all times? Some individuals have excused themselves on the ground that it is impossible for them to manifest tranquility and cosmic harmony for too long. They say that they cannot manifest it for a prolonged period of time, that they seem to feel a need to release the energy of discord from their being. This is not a statement of truth, precious ones. It is a statement of ungoverned energy and a statement based on baneful ignorance. Those who are acquainted with the great cosmic laws of harmony must realize immediately, in a spirit of absolute truth, that God does not create any form of discord or despair, but only the complete feeling of cosmic peace and unity. His harmony then must pervade every activity upon the planetary body in order to produce the exact duplicate patterns that are existing in the heavens, which make the heavens, precious ones, the wondrous places which we enjoy and from which we emanate our mighty light rays in a cosmic tide of cosmic compassion. I would like to bring to your attention, precious ones, that this Easter is intended to be a period of cosmic miracle, when the great inrush of cosmic light to the ascended host from on high infuses the planetary body with a most special outpouring of the Christ radiance that shall distribute evenly over the face of the earth the exact portion which God originally intended all to have, which by reason of karmic conditions and other situations relating to the individual's manifestation of life has not been brought about. But this year, because of the entreaty of beloved Mother Mary and the Lord Mahachohan, the karmic board has been disposed to grant that the exact radiation of the ascended master light which is being bestowed upon beloved Jesus shall be bestowed upon every individual upon this planet, so that they all may share the great glory of God, whether they are aware of the feeling or not. And this shall be done, you may be assured of, in the name and by the spirit of cosmic harmony, that the world may feel, at least for a period of 1 minute, the peace of God which he intends all to have and one day know. Precious ones of the light, this fiat was issued by the karmic board, and it was, as I have said before, a result of the intercession of beloved Mother Mary in commemoration of her great love for precious Jesus, the ascended Master, and also the Lord Mahachohan, who has interceded on behalf of elemental life because of the tremendous weight of discord and human oppression which has been released upon the earth because of mankind's inharmonious feeling piled up over the centuries, layer upon layer, somewhat in the manner of the rings around trees. Won't you please be seated, precious ones? Now, as I am speaking to you, there is pouring out over the Atlantic and Pacific Ocean a mighty tide of cosmic energy, guarded and husbanded by the angelic host and destined to be distributed over the landed areas of the world. You may wonder why this activity is taking place over the ocean. Well, let me tell you, beloved ones, there is not as much human discord manifesting over the ocean as there is over the land. And I think you will realize then that the landed areas of the earth need special protection. I tell you, beloved ones, this protection must be called forth this year as never before in order to avoid the cataclysmic actions which mankind have been predicting and directing through their wrong use of energy. Those that are acquainted with the great laws of harmony know that the balance of human energy must always be held by those God-fearing and God-loving individuals who understand the great laws of preserving harmony in the immaculate concept for all mankind. The immaculate concept is the great drama dream of immortal perfection which beloved Mother Mary cherished within her own heart flame and held for beloved Jesus throughout his entire mission. This, beloved ones, is the exact divine design which God holds in his great heart for every life stream. And if there is any individual here who feels that God does not hold the self-same design for them that he held for beloved Jesus, let them call unto me this night in the holy name of God before they fall asleep, that I may acquaint them, at least at inner levels, with the direct outpicturing of that design, that they may understand it in their inner nature, and then have the added momentum of that assistance to pour forth through the days that are ahead, and the weeks that are ahead, and the years that are ahead, remaining to you in this life span which God has allotted to your precious being. O beloved ones, you do not know the great hunger that there is upon the earth this night for peace and harmony. This hunger penetrates even behind the iron curtain and the bamboo curtain, and is in the heart not only of the children of the world, but in those individuals who by reason of age fear that they may soon leave the planetary body and are burning with a great desire to leave behind them some element of divine love and harmony and peace that will be handed down to their progeny and given to the coming race. Precious ones, this great tide of love from many hearts has touched the very heart of God and the great karmic board, and therefore there is returned an additional recompense of blessing that shall penetrate the earth this precious Easter season. O precious ones of the light, I desire now to draw you into a great force field of understanding contemplation of the divine idea as it manifests through the nature kingdom. Come with me then for a moment in consciousness into the realm where there is drawn together the devas who create the wondrous eternal pine, and contemplate the wonderful forms of the pine trees towering high into the sky. Realize that these pine trees, ensouled as it were by the great nature devas, are able to infuse the atmosphere with a special fragrance of the eternal pine, which in one sense is related, and I know that you will not think me corny when I say so, to the hunger of men's souls for God. You have heard it said, I am pining for this individual or that one. Then realize that this is the eternal hunger that is locked within the heart of man. As these tall sentinels of life point their way toward God and heaven, they remind mankind of the eternal fragrance of eternal youth. They remind mankind of the immortal substance that was originally placed within the force field of their being, the great power that beats their heart and sustains the God action of life for everyone upon the planetary body. Oh, you say to me, yes, it sustains it upon the planetary body, but how is it sustained with dissonance and discord in many places? Precious ones, I call to your attention that God did not create this discord, but mankind, through their own wrong use of free will, have created this discord and sustained it for generations. And therefore the great law requires that mankind must clean up the situation which they have created, that they may enter into their own immortal inheritance and have the blessing of cosmic harmony abiding therein forever. Now, precious ones, as you enter in to the fragrance of the pine, journey with me in consciousness through the many lands of the earth, and realize the various ethnic groups upon the planetary body whose culture is different than your own. Realize the hunger that is in the hearts of all of these people for the great God flame to manifest the fullness of its power. Realize that this hunger and desire takes many forms and expressions simply because it is not God-directed? Do you realize, blessed ones, that the drunkenness upon the planetary body which transpires in human beings is a direct result of their desire to escape from the body prison, that they may arise in consciousness through losing their consciousness in a stupor induced by some form of stimulant, to connect them with their own God presence, that they may find release from the situations of this world? Mankind desire to escape, precious ones, from the bondage of inharmony to the harmony of God. Well then, know, precious ones, that the light of God that does not fail is the source of immortal harmony, and I shall not fail to continue expressing this harmony tonight until you have been enabled to be filled to the brim and overflowing with a feeling of cosmic harmony. There are some individuals, quite naturally here in this place, that do not realize the intense action that is taking place at inner levels. Well, blessed ones, do not let this cause you any form of distress. I assure you that were the beloved ascended Master Jesus to step through the veil this moment and manifest here, that after you recovered from your first surprise and were able to lean back in your chairs and contemplate his presence, it would not be long after you left here that you would find yourself once again entering into the old habit patterns of the centuries and generating the same types of discord, unless you would anchor yourself by God determination in your own mighty I Am presence and would hold on to the hand of your presence without fail. You see, beloved ones, the victory of one individual is not the victory of another. This point must be made clear, for herein is the explanation of the fact that one star differeth from another star in glory. This is a manifestation of the great law of being. Individuals who pour out their love and adoration and constancy to God over the centuries are quite naturally endowed with more of the immortal substance than those individuals who have given but a little offering. You are familiar with the parable of the talents, how that to one was given one and to others many. But you are all accountable for that portion of the divine substance that you have externalized, and it is God's will that whatever is given to you should be kept in a spirit of absolute quiescence and harmony until there is emitted from your being the complete consonance of God's radiance, the great concentric emanations of the rainbow rays. Precious ones, as I am speaking, visualize then the heart of God as a great golden anvil. Feel your own heart as the threshing floor of God, a place where inharmony can be separated from harmony and then transmuted into light, a place where the law of harmony can be anchored, an altar of light where the great sparks of the Holy Spirit may, through your talents and expressions, find a place in society here that shall serve the needs of mankind in producing the cultures of the new age. Oh, precious ones, there is a need not for only one Christ consecrated individual, but there is a need for many Christ-consecrated individuals, and therefore each one of you have a specific place in the divine plan. This night, as I am speaking to you, somewhat in the manner of a keynote address, I desire that you shall find within your consciousness a living, breathing awareness of the divine design for yourselves, each one. It is needful that each one of you shall accept this personally and not otherwise. For if you shall feel that my instruction is directed at another, it shall not suffice to fulfill the great divine plan for this class. Therefore, precious ones, accept a feeling as you feel your own hearts beating within you, that it is the heart of God within you. Feel then the emanations of the white light pouring forth from you, dividing into rainbow rays of concentric color, contacting the nature kingdom in the spirit of cosmic harmony, and breathing forth to the planetary body the great effulgent harmony of the cosmic spheres. O angels of harmony, come forth now in God's holy name and surround all of these souls with thy radiance. I am invoking thy presence here. Descend and fill these people with the Spirit of the Holy Ghost, the great cosmic outpouring of the divine radiance that is the memory of the Christ radiance that was depicted in the Last Supper and the Passover, the place where the blood of the Lamb is recognized as the life of God flowing from the crystal throne down through the nature kingdom, the elemental kingdom, and all natural manifestation, until man is no longer identified and ego-centered with his physical form and personality, but is centered in the great cosmic heart of his being, the source of all harmony. Let then the holy tones of cosmic harmony ring forth. Let the spirit of the great white brotherhood surround all. Let men flow forth as a river of being from the substance of their own hearts, and let them recognize that the flame that is within them has the capability and possibility of merging with all life, flowing then into the pine, flowing then into the billowing clouds of substance composed of water and air, charged then with the radiance of beloved Prince Ramesses in the fire, charged then with the power of beloved Ares, charged then with the power of beloved Thor, charged then with the power of the elementals everywhere. Realize that man is able to leave the physical form and flow in consciousness out into the world, to merge the consciousness with a tiny baby's cry, with a spark of flame, with a star, with a pathway of light, with the moonbeam shining upon the waters, with the unfolding of a rose. You may, by direct placement, leave your physical being, leave your consciousness completely behind, and enter as the elementals do into the consciousness of a tree, into the consciousness of a bird. You may enter into the consciousness of all life everywhere. You may feel the hunger pangs of those children that are hungry throughout the world, and you may say in God's name, let them be fed. You may also perform physical tasks to see that this is brought about, for all action is an action of the Holy Trinity. It must be brought about by the pure in heart which see the face of God. It must be brought about by the pure in heart who recognize in their own density a concentration of cosmic energy and realize that the power to disperse that energy that is given to them is under their own God-given dominion, and therefore they may divide themselves from the flesh and form, bone upon bone and spirit upon spirit, until they enter into the very heart of the planet. And then, precious ones, the planetary initiations become the individual initiations, and then the elemental initiations, for they have them too, become the initiations of the individual. And understanding is born in consciousness, for when individuals can become a part of a situation, it is entirely different than when they contemplate it from a distance. To be far removed from life is not the plan of God, but to enter into the fullness of life and drink all of the cup of that life is the plan of God. Those who would make their consciousness the size of a thimble have their reward. Verily I say unto thee, they have their reward. but those who would drink of the cup of cosmic harmony and accept the master plan and try to bring about the fullness of that plan, these are in the vanguard of the cosmic action of this planet. These are in the cosmic action of the Great White Brotherhood as it moves not through one individual but through many, requiring, according to the great law, the devotion of many hearts in cosmic supplication to the great cosmic cause of this age and the cause of immortal freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, there are reasons why I shall take my leave of you shortly. I must bear in the name of cosmic harmony with those younger souls who have not yet come to understand the full meaning of this great activity that is taking place. I am aware that many of you would be most happy to sit here throughout the night and hear me speak to you as I had planned on doing, not throughout the whole night, but for a considerable longer period of time, concerning special manifestations of the universe. But because, I again repeat, there are certain individuals who feel some weariness of the flesh, I desire to bear with them and submit and take my leave of you. I assure you that these brothers and sisters will ultimately, at least some of them, it is our hope, catch up and be able to draw forth enough energy to understand that there are more important matters to attend to than the mere caring for the physical form, which itself can be cared for best by the immortal spirit which created it. I know of no greater caretaker for all of life everywhere. Therefore I say to you, in a spirit of complete compassion and understanding for all of you in your various states of consciousness, but a plea for a renewed effort of cosmic unity to permeate not only this activity but the world at large, I take my leave, and my blessing shall rest upon you through your songs throughout the balance of this entire class, that you may draw forth a wondrous Christ radiance culminating in the release of beloved Jesus energy on the occasion of Easter. Ladies and gentlemen, in God's blessed name, I thank you and I bless you with the supernal radiance of immortal harmony and the angels of cosmic harmony and the angels of cosmic unity and the angels of cosmic peace and the angels of cosmic purity and the angels of divine righteousness and the angels of freedom. Thank you and good night.